Hello, everybody. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Thanks for being patient with me there as we get everything wired up. A big update tonight on our next round of winter weather here in the northern plains. Severe weather outbreak in the central plains and the southeastern United States happening as we speak. I'll have complete updates. Bring your questions as we head into our overnight hours here. We're going to enjoy quiet but cold conditions here in the northern plains. Have the latest in your forecast update. It begins right now. Hey, have you heard about my friends over at Robert Gibb and Sons? They've been serving our community here in the Northern Plains for 110 years, providing trusted plumbing and heating services with a wide variety of top-tier water heaters, from traditional tank models to those tankless systems, ensuring that best fit for your home and use. Give them a call today and let them know that Hutch sent you. Now let's take a look at what we have going on across the nation with regards to our weather. Here's the big picture as we look at the lower 48 and even portions of Alaska. Fairly quiet in Alaska for the most part, but look at the United States, the lower 48 as we head into the evening hours on this Thursday night. Winter storm warnings across the mountains of the Sierra Nevada, southern parts of the state of Washington. Hey, we have a winter weather advisory in southern parts of North Dakota. Storm is expected to roll out of Montana, drifting across the plains. We have a winter storm watch for parts of North Dakota, South Dakota, all the way in through the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul. This could impact two interstate corridors through southern and central parts of Minnesota, I-94 and I-90. Wind advisories and warnings across portions of the north. Severe weather outbreak in the state of Tennessee with an active tornado warning right now as that system continues to work its way through. Thanks for watching, Simon. Thanks for watching, Nathan. It's a pleasure to have both of you on board. I appreciate all of you for taking the time to trust Hutch, or, well, with trusting Hutch with your weather information. I do take that trust very seriously. Here's a look at what's going on right now as we sneak into the radar. Now, as you take a look out to the West Coast, look at California, a whole smorgasbord of activity going on out in the West Coast right now, from snow in the southern mountains of Oregon near Medford, Redding, seeing heavy snow. We have mixed precipitation in the Sierra Nevada at this time with very heavy rain near Sacramento. It remains bone dry for many in the far south with just a little bit of rain near Los Angeles, but at this point, any rain is welcome in Southern California with the active pattern going on now, hitting the central coast of the Pacific. These systems now are developing rocky mountain systems that are going out through the plains. And take a look at this. Quiet now in the central part of the United States, from Bismarck, North Dakota, all the way down to, Brownsville, Texas. But look at this. It's anything but quiet. Roanoke, Virginia. Strong line of thunderstorms here through Bristol. Heading off to the east, we have hail. We have gusty straight line winds and an active tornado warning taking place right now. Here's the latest on that. South of Newport, heading into that Asheville area. But here is where the tornado warning is in effect until we get to the time frame of 9:30, 1.5-inch diameter. Hail from this puppy, and it's moving off to the southeast. Here's a little bit more information on this particular storm as we take a look. Basically, the tornado warning is canceled for other counties, but this storm definitely showing some signs of strong and persistent late night activity as it works its way in. So the new warning that goes out towards Weaverville and Asheville is for a severe thunderstorm. The risk for tornadoes still on the side of waning. So it's going to be replaced with the severe thunderstorm warning. We'll keep you updated on that. If you're in the path of those storms, watch out for very gusty straight line winds and some sizable hail, with a few tornadoes still not going to be out of the question. All right, what's going on in our forecast in the northern plains? Let's get right to it. If you do have questions, I'll get to those later. I'm going to do a focused run through our forecast. Number one, we've been talking for the last several days about a northern plains storm system. We got whack number one last night and into our morning today. Blizzard warnings across North Dakota today. Those winds are subsiding and things are improving just a bit. But now we turn our attention to our next wave of wintry weather. Check this out. Here's your forecast for the Fargo area. Temperatures going to be cold in the morning, 7 below, thanks to the fresh snow that we've got, but the wind will start to take a break. Increasing clouds late, snow in the southern half of North Dakota, northern half of South Dakota, much of southern Minnesota will ensue tomorrow night, with some of the worst conditions luckily happening in the overnight hours. And if you're planning on morning or early morning Saturday travel, particularly toward the Twin Cities, watch out. I'm expecting 2 to 5 inches for Fargo and areas south. Now, as you go north of Fargo, the amount of snow will drop off dramatically. I'll show you a map on that in a minute. 4 to 7 inches south and east of Fargo as you go toward the Twin Cities. Some areas could even see upwards of 10 or 12 inches of snow in toward the Twin Cities. We'll get a brief hiccup of warmer weather working its way through on Saturday. Then the cold takes hold. If you're watching across the nation, on my YouTube channel, check this out. These are actual air temperatures for morning readings in Fargo. It will be even colder in some of our communities up north as we're going to bear several days of sub-zero temperatures in the morning, but even highs in the afternoon. Not too pleasant at all. Lack of heat is what we call that up here in the Northern Plains. Let's talk a little bit about our forecast. Here's Hutch's update. Number 1, Friday. The storm begins as we go through the late afternoon and evening along the South Dakota border. There's a winter storm possible for many counties. What's a winter storm? When we combine heavy snow with the wind that this storm will ensue with, and I'll have details on that in a second. Here's North Dakota, here's South Dakota, the heavier batches of snow moving right along the I-94 corridor and point south, dropping off dramatically as you get to the north. I'll have the full screen version of this. When will the conditions be the worst? Well, it won't be pleasant or picnic travel from Friday night all the way through midday Saturday. However, some of the worst winds here in the Red River Valley of North Dakota, eastern parts of South Dakota on the I-29 corridor, and the I-94 corridor will be taking place right at about 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock at night, and that will continue to skirt its way out toward the Twin Cities as we go towards daybreak. So overnight into the very early morning hours in and around the Twin Cities will be rough and tumble. Here's what you can expect across the region in the Northern Plains for morning temperatures. Air temperatures 7 below Fargo. We got fresh snow here. We got some fresh snow there, and many of us with the fresh snow and the quiet conditions will see sub-zero morning temperatures. Wind chills to around 35 below as that wind picks up a little bit out in the western counties. Notice the warmer air down to the south. It's on this boundary between the cold that's taking hold up here and the warmer air down to the south that's going to bring us our chance of some significant snow as the storm system exits the Rocky Mountains. Here's a peek then at what I anticipate with regard to our wind chills. They're going to be around 35 below, but let's go to the afternoon. Snow spreading along the border, I-94 and points south. It really doesn't begin until we get into the later evening hours. This is a snapshot at 4 in the afternoon. Here's our boundary. Look at the warm air. 30s down in central and southern South Dakota, closer to 40 degrees. And as that warm, moist air gets lobbed over the top of the cold air, it's going to be no fun in our neck of the woods. Thanks for joining, Sheila. Thanks, Simon, for appreciating you. Tornado, you got it. Marlis, it's all the way out there in parts of Tennessee. We'll be hearing more about that as they've had some very busy weather. Simon, thanks for joining. Becky, thanks for joining in the Fargo area. All right, now as we take a look at our chances of snow, they increase later in the evening hours. So again, you may want to keep those flexible travel plans. And remember, hutchesweather.com. Now, we've been talking about this the last several days. This is my graphic from last night showing the American model with heavier snow here with the darker pink. But right along the North Dakota-South Dakota border, the European model had less snow amounts, but a pretty similar track. And now we can dial this in and take a closer look. Are you ready? Here we go. It's what we're talking about now as we take you in. Here it is. Right along the I-94 corridor, this is a high-resolution model. The track of the storm right along the state border here, there's Bismarck, and right along I-94 all the way across the state, this model is painting a picture of 3 inches. I put a range on here in the blues, 2 to 5 inches. It's going to drop out dramatically quick as you go to the Highway 200 corridor, the way it looks right now. And then down south where you see these pink colors, anywhere from 3 inches of snow for those little pockets that get dried up to over 8 inches of snow. And look at this I-29 corridor, if you're driving south, or if you're driving on the I-94 corridor toward the Twin Cities, you are going to cross through the band of heavier snow, 3 to 8 plus. This model's painting a few areas with upwards of 1 foot of snow potentially there. John Johnson, it's good to have you on board. Thank you so very, very much for watching. Drop me a note. Let me know where you're watching from, John. And Tracy joining us from Jamestown here, where I think you're going to see, because of our temperatures that are around 10 degrees, up here in North Dakota, we're talking about the same type of flakes that we got in the last 24 hours. They're the fluffy, flyy kind of flakes, okay? They're not going to pack down too much. It's not going to be wet, heavy snow. It's not going to be the back-breaking, heavier snow. Down here near Pierre, down near the areas near, well, Huron, South Dakota, and points south of there, it's going to be more of a thick, heavier wet snow there. Brooke, thanks for joining. Mesa, Arizona. Well, this is a long ways, but if you want someone to send you some snow, Susie, just drop a line on what the post office box is. I know you're not legally supposed to send snow in the mail, but if we could, we'd send you some, because I know you could sure use the moisture. Now, this storm is going to rock into parts of Wisconsin. I know I've got a lot of viewers out there as well, and that's what we're expecting with regards to the track. It'll be a little later arriving there with some of the worst conditions by Saturday morning, working its way into the great state of Wisconsin. Hey, Dan, thanks for the sharing of stars. Brooke, good to have you on from the DL area. Now, if nobody has any questions, in Ada, Cynthia, if you're up here in Norman County, you're going to be on that ramp where things really should taper down just a little bit. Now, I'm going to put this out there because I'll be here to cover this again in the morning. Sometimes, I'm giving you the latest information here. Sometimes Hutch has seen these things shift by more than 100 miles north or south. I'm pretty confident we are going to have a band of very heavy snow. Will it shift south? The models have trended just a pinch south, but not a lot. They've been very consistent over the last several runs. So that gives me some confidence that somewhere between the I-94 corridor and that I-90 corridor, I feel that we're going to see a band of very heavy snow, and it is combined with some winds as well. So with all of that said, again, tonight was Hutch's Weather Kid over at Luther Family Ford. Had a fun time talking weather with the kids tonight. And if you missed it, here's just a real short clip. Check this out. How much fun we have over there. Oh my goodness. All right, it was Tyson Keyser, and I do believe I've got a clip here to share with you. Where is it? I lost it. Oh, there it is. I'm sorry about that. Here. Oh, hey, I'm Hutch. What's your name? Tyson. Wow, what do you think of this Explorer? Is it a cool car? Very good. Hey, do you have time to help me do the weather here at Luther Family Ford? Well, great. Come on over here and follow me. All right, so that's what we're looking at. Now back to some current conditions as we wrap this up, but I do want to let you know that we do have some areas that are getting some, still have some pretty tricky road conditions. I want to share a tool with you. First of all, here's a look at the radar. There are some bands of what you would call lake effect snow. This is called fetch. When the wind is blowing cold air over the open waters, it fetches more moisture. And the longer that air is blowing over the open water, the more fetch it has. It can fetch more molecules of water. So here we got some very, very distinct bands of lake effect style snow near Sault Ste. Marie, the upper portion of Michigan, seeing some snow in the north as well. And also that extends out across the border into Ontario and Quebec as we head down into New York State. There's been some snow that's exiting now, but this lake effect snow is starting to take over with northwest winds. We're going to continue to see a chance of that making its way through. This system here, there have been there have been the threat of some significant snow and ice. It looks like the Boston area is going to is under a winter storm watch from this system. So this system will be making its way up in those areas as well. Check out our temperatures. Let's get to that right now. First and foremost, we do have air temperatures that are staying near zero for many of us here in the northern plains. Let's check this out. This is where things are really cold though. Sub-zero air, where you see this little white donut here from Regina all the way into parts of western North Dakota and eastern Montana, where Glasgow has 4 below zero right now. Bismarck 7 above, Fargo 5 above, Brainerd 7 degrees. Hey, Bemidji, Babe the Blue Ox says 5 degrees ain't half bad as we head into the evening hours. Now, as you take a look at temperatures elsewhere, we have the 20s and even 30s as far south as Amarillo, where it's 36 degrees. Garden City, Kansas in the 20s. Woodward, Oklahoma, wow, 28 degrees all the way down south. Now, this cold air in the 40s is working its way into northern Texas right now, and it's pretty chilly on the north side of Arkansas. So along this boundary where we have very cold, very dry air working its way into Nashville, here's the hot, humid air where these air masses are clashing along a front and a boundary. We do have some volatile weather taking place as you look out towards Knoxville, Tennessee right now, and looking at some of your other data out there in Knoxville. 66 the temperature. This late hour gusty winds are from the southwest, so you're still on the warm side of this system from the southwest at about 21 miles per hour, gusting to 31 miles per hour. The wind will shift directions when you're on the safe side of this storm system here. As you look off to the west, here's a report from the Cookville area, and you can see there the wind direction has shifted and become northerly. Drier air pushing in and punching in on the backside of the system. This is going to work its way up to the north and east. Let's talk about your hour-by-hour forecast elsewhere across the nation. Let's do that with a look at the good old USA view. We're only going to go out the next 48 hours for now because that's enough to keep ourselves busy here. As far as meteorology goes, there's a lot of things that will happen in the next 24 hours that could change the whole picture show. What is taking place in Northern California now spreads out into the central and northern Rockies, and as it does so, this is the event that's heading Friday and Saturday into the Dakotas and Minnesota. What's going on now will be exiting off the mid-Atlantic states. The lake effect snow here is likely to continue for some areas in the Great Lakes as long as that strong northwest wind flow over the Great Lakes continues. Here we go. As we go into your midday hour in Montana, we're going to see snow spreading from West Yellowstone right through Billings and the I-94 corridor across North Dakota and points south. This is the initial band of snow, and it arrives as it works its way through. And that's it for this particular model run. Let me go and get one that goes out a little bit farther. I forgot to get that one out of my pocket. Here we go. Okay, so as that system works its way across the Rockies, it starts spreading with a band of heavy snow. And watch these isobars. Where they get close together, we're going to have some pretty ridiculous wind. The severe weather threat, by the way, in the south is alleviated for now, but we got another storm system scooping air from the Gulf of Mexico here. Those south winds are going to relace the air with a lot of moisture in the central plains. And then cold, dry air coming off of the mountain range here as we go into the weekend is going to really interact, and we'll have another chance for some unsettled weather. This system will be working its way through Minneapolis, St. Paul, heading into parts of Wisconsin, including you folks up there in Green Bay, northern parts of Michigan as well, seeing the impacts of this storm as it works its way through. Very gusty winds that will exceed 40 miles per hour on this I-29 corridor after snow has already fallen. So even though the snow looks like it's out of here by the time we get to Saturday morning, the wind will continue to create tricky travel here in the northern plains. This system skirts right along the Great Lakes, and here you go. Now, as we see the cooler, drier air on the backside of this system interacting with the moisture here in the deep southeastern United States, we'll see a line of some showers and thunderstorms. Will they be severe? The timing, not the best, although we will have some afternoon showers and storms. I think it'll be a similar area, though. Maybe Kentucky gets a chance at some heavy thunderstorm activity here. This model not calling for it, but I'm saying there is hot, humid air that will be interacting with these north cold, dry winds. And along that boundary, there could be some impactful weather. Look at this, though, an ice storm in Pennsylvania. And look at that. It looks like we could have some potential for some very heavy bands of snow through most of New York and then Boston, seeing a chance for some wild weather with this system as it works its way off the coast. So that's a look at your hour-by-hour forecast. Let's see if we have any questions as we go through here. Let me start with the Facebook channel. Hi, everybody on Facebook. If you are on my Facebook page, head to my page by clicking on my picture over here, and please click the follow button. It really does help me out a lot. Marvin says, hey, Hutch, appreciate the weather. Rita's watching in Bemidji. Keep Cavalier dry. You're on the right side of the storm up in Cavalier and Walhalla for the Friday-Saturday event. Love watching the weather report, says Joseph. Thank you so much. I like it. Mershawn says, what about Arkansas? What's the weather going to be like? Mershawn Ortega, please pass along the time frame. The next 24 hours in Arkansas, we have got some cold weather in there right now, but if I reload this baby back up here, I'll walk you through it one more time with a focus on Arkansas. Here it is. The storm that you're getting now in the cold air that's on the northern part of the state will start to alleviate, and you'll get some warm winds as we head in towards Saturday. Those south winds will begin that warm up, and it'll feel pretty nice. Can't rule out some spotty showers and storms along that cold boundary between you and the ridiculousness in the Ohio River Valley. You're warming up. Now, as this storm system moves out of the Rockies, you're going to see warmer conditions, mild conditions for your Saturday, setting the stage for a Super Bowl Sunday. But look at what's on the doorstep. Do you see these blue lines, by the way? That's the thickness of the atmosphere. When we have cold, dense air, the thickness of the atmosphere gets shallow. When the air gets hot and it expands and whatnot, the air mass gets thicker. So we have thicker, warmer air masses down south. You're still in the warm air mass, but there's some cold air in northern Missouri that's heading your way. No big hiccups in the forecast dare I say it, as a meteorologist, I've been bitten before, and once bitten, twice shy. Hi, appreciate your time. Thanks so much, Lisa. Appreciate y'all. If you have any questions, you can drop a line on here. I sure appreciate everybody's support. Looking on the other channels here real quickly before I wrap this update up. Hey, Northern Grace, good to have you on board. Deborah, thanks for watching on my YouTube channel. If you're watching on YouTube, drop a comment in here. Let me know where you're watching from. I'm getting viewers from all over the country. I like to do my best to answer those questions. Rex Forest, nice reference to the for the good of Great White. Yeah, once bitten. You've heard that song before. My. Oh, well, at any rate, you got it, Rex. That's where that one came from. Hi, Greg. Good to have you on board watching on the old YouTube channel out there. Let's take one last look at the radar and see if there's any updates for those folks in parts of eastern Tennessee. Been some very active weather out in those parts for sure. Here is a look at the radar. Let me go to the single site version, though. We're only going to look at the radars out in the area of concern. So let me load this up for you. Here you go. Shazam! And here we go. We got flood warnings, flash flood warnings up there on the north side of this system as we look into Kentucky, Roanoke, Virginia. As we look down towards Knoxville, all severe thunderstorm warnings, these yellow boxes. So from Mount Airy to Asheville, that's where these storms are right now. Let's go to the closest radar Hutch can find here. Give me 1 minute while my eyes wander. I want to load up the correct radar right here. Let me see. Where is my radar site label? There we go. Shazam! And shadizzle. Here we go. All right, so we turn the radar on. We'll let it populate. Here are the storms that we're watching. This was the tornadic cell that was working its way through a little earlier. That's making its way off in the general direction of Asheville, heading toward the 26 corridor right now. We do have some pretty stout thunderstorms out here. What about the risk for tornadoes? What about the risk for shear with these? Let me see if I can pull up some fun information on that. Let's go ahead and take a look at some shear. Let's take a look at the shear. Boom. Okay, so what we're looking at here is a calculation by the Doppler radar, and we're looking for spin in the storms, and I'm seeing a couple areas where there's some unsettled weather. I'm going to take another look at the hail tracker here. Let's go ahead and check that out. Not tracking any huge hail with this storm, but let's take a look at what they say for the Hot Springs area storm in Weaverville. 1 inch diameter hail is possible. There's been an observed 1 inch hail report, so definitely a problem there. Okay, 1 inch hail, that's an Excedrin sized hail. That will give you a headache. 60 mile per hour gusty straight line winds. Where are those? Let me analyze those and tell you the latest on that with a look at the radial velocity. And here we go. Now we go in. And the colors you're seeing here is not rain. Green is not rain. This is velocity inside the thunderstorm. Look at this bad boy right here, south and west of the Marshall area. There's greens showing up on the radar. That's motion toward the radar. And then we got reds next to it, motion away. So there is some pretty stout rotation in this particular cell out here as it works its way towards the Weaverville area at this particular time. So that storm's still showing some signs of rotation. There's another pocket over here where we've got some away velocities in red blowing away from the radar and toward here. So pretty interesting signatures as these storms have downdrafts. They have outflow boundaries that are working their way through. But one thing we can look at, if I pull this up, I don't want to look at storm relative velocity. I'm going to look at straight radial velocity if I can find it here. Essentially, we have the basics for some pretty gusty winds. It looks like to me there could be some pretty strong outbound winds from this storm right here that's working its way, and it's well away from the I-40 corridor. We do have some even stronger winds in this area here where it's green, but that's inbound winds. So pretty interesting feature. I'm not seeing the areas where I'm seeing any real particular areas where the wind gusts are, but let me take a look at this. Wind gust estimates. All right, here we go. Looking in at these, let me pull up what the data is showing here as far as that goes. So 50 to 55 mile per hour wind gusts are possible with the storm that's working its way in that Marshall area. I do want to say this, sometimes we can show at the radar height that's very high some stout winds. That doesn't necessarily always mean that's what's going to work its way down to the ground, so I want to be clear about that. But it certainly is possible when we have some elevated high winds that the Doppler radar catches up at cloud level, that some of that energy can be brought down to the surface with the heavy rain that's associated with these particular storms. Let me look at one other factor here. Okay, so we're looking at what's called the vertically integrated liquid that can help us pinpoint areas of these particular storms that may have bigger hail. So it looks like as the crow flies here just off to the west of Marshall, there's a pocket of hail. South of Newport, there's a few different cells capable of producing some sizable hail. Another severe thunderstorm warning out here in that Sparta area. Dobson, that storm here is making its way towards Mount Airy at this particular time. Let's see what we got for warnings on this particular cell and what the National Weather Service out there says. 60-mile-per-hour winds and 3/4-inch diameter hail possible from that particular storm. It's moving east at 45 miles per hour. Do you see the little triangle here? That's where the core of the cell is. And again, I'm not seeing the hail potential with this. This one's more of a wind burping storm there that's going to cause some problems with wind gusts. So that's the very latest with regards to what's going on there. All is quiet across the north. As we go back out to the west coast where it's not quiet, we got some heavy old rain out here as we head into that area near Sacramento. And while this radar populates, flood warnings going on in these areas as we take a look at the latest radar data there. Let me see if I can pull up the rainfall estimates out here. So here are the areas where Hutch sees that the radar, the Doppler radar, has been tracking the rain. And look at this, near Chico, we have some very serious rainfall amounts showing up here where you see these pinks. 1 to 2 inches of rain estimated by Doppler radar north of Chico, near Red Bluff, and all the way out towards well, the elevated train up here, Yuba City, picking up a solid inch of rain. Now, all of us have seen the terrible fires that took place in Southern California out here as we get towards Los Angeles, and still no fires there, or the mountains towards Barstow, but to the north and to the west of the LA area, maybe 1/4 inch estimated by the Doppler radar. That is a look at your weather. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. For my viewers here in the Northern Plains, I appreciate each and every one of you checking out my website, hutchesweather.com. Hutchesweather.com is your source for everything you need weather-wise in the Northern Plains. Hutchesweather.com has links to everything, and what we're going to do to close out is check out one of these links, and that's the snowfall link. So your reports come into Hutch, or you pass them along everywhere else, and they end up on this plot from the National Weather Service. And the National Weather Service says snowfall reports in and around Grand Forks with the windy and snowy system. 1 to 3 inches is all, but boy, that wind blowing at 40 miles per hour to 50 miles per hour caused problems all day long. Fertile reporting 4 inches of snow up in Polk County. The Fargo area picking up 3 to 4 inches of snow, pretty well represented there from the storm system as it made its way through. Down the corridor we go toward the Twin Cities, and reports in the southern metro area only 1/3 of an inch or so. But as you get up towards that St. Cloud area or the Brainerd Lakes area, 2 to 4 inches of snow on a general rule there. Now, there's a lot more snow out in the mountains of Idaho, Montana, and out to the west coast out here where we did get some snow in the eastern mountains of Oregon out here near Joseph. 16 inches there. Wow, that's a lot of snow. You get out near Spokane at Coeur d'Alene, 8 to 12 inches out there in Mullen, Idaho. Some big time snow as those systems worked its way through. Northeast Montana got hit pretty hard with 10 inches in Glasgow, Montana at the National Weather Service forecast office there. So snowfall in the Northeast has been confined to the coast of Maine. Things quieter now, but it's going to pick back up again as this next system working out of the Central Plains and East Tennessee works its way up the coast. I'll have details on that, but for now, I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful night.